Hello students, I am recording this lecture for my MBA students of Delhi Technical Campus who are the students of business marketing. In the last lecture, I had discussed with you what are the challenges of B2B business, and I had discussed this in terms of the global challenges which B2B business faces, as also in terms of the challenges, B2B challenges which are specific to India. And I had given you various examples, and I had given you examples of B2B business which is offline, which happens in the industrial business. We had also taken, I had given you the example of retailers who form the last end of the B2B business, given you example of the automobile retailers who go to Kashmiri Gate in Delhi to buy automobile spare parts. I explained to you the problem of genuine products. Actually, some of the products are duplicate. The market of fake products is very high. In this slide, I want to explain to you companies who are operating in pure B2B business. These companies don't operate in business to consumer segment. For example, Intel is a global company. Intel provides the it provides the basic component for all PC manufacturers, whether it is Dell, or it is HP, or it is Lenovo. So Intel is largely or purely into B2B market. Okay. So similarly, an Indian company like TCS, Tata Consultancy Services, the company which is always among the most valued companies in terms of market capitalization, it's always neck and neck with Reliance Industries. So TCS is a pure B2B company. It is often said that most Indian companies are good in B2B, but they are poor in B2C. But that myth is getting broken. Why? Because companies like Flipkart, which became a rage in the B2C segment. Now you see various companies like Tata 1MG. It is a B2C company. It's directly selling to the customers the pharmacy products. Or you see an app like Practo, which is connecting the service providers who are doctors directly to the patients. Okay. Or companies which are providing pharmacy, so or companies which are providing food items. So India is becoming a good B2C company, B2C destination, or a B2, or Indians are making a name for themselves in B2C also. But TCS is a B2B company. Dixon Technologies was a company which was started by the guys who were behind Western TV. Western TV used to be the best television in the black and white era. So when I was growing up, we used to have a Western TV, Texla TV. After that, once they realized that they could not compete with the the colored televisions which were coming from Taiwan or South Korea, then they became OEM, original equipment manufacturers, for many big players. So Dixon, Boeing, for example, Boeing, which is an aircraft manufacturer, it supplies aircraft to all the airlines in the world, including Air India, including Vistara, including Indigo, and what have you. Boeing and Airbus are two leading airplane companies in the world. Then Larsen and Toubro, very respected company in India. It is a B2B company. I have taken Wärtsilä, which is producing big generators. Okay, Wärtsilä. This is the example of B2B company. These companies are only in pure B2B space. In this slide, I want to give you examples of some companies which are in consumer markets also and business markets also. On top, I've taken Indian Oil Corporation. Although strictly speaking, Indian Oil Corporation reaches its customer through retail network. Huh? When you buy petrol, you don't go to, but some of the petrol pumps you will find are company owned and company operated pumps also. So LPG also we buy through Indian Oil appointed retailers. But Indian Oil is very big into direct business also. For example, supply of diesel to railways, or to Indian Army, or to paramilitary forces, or supplying of aviation oil directly to airlines. So Indian Oil is, you can say, it is into consumer markets also, it is into business market also. Okay. Then let's take the case of Airtel. You find Airtel DTH, which is direct to home. The Airtel dish in your houses. You find Airtel selling you the SIM cards directly through their retail company retail outlets. But Airtel also has enterprise solutions. For example, broadband solutions they have for large enterprises also. So Airtel is an example in consumer market also and business market also. If it has a optical fiber cable which is going through under the sea, so that also has got enterprise customers. Okay, let's come to the Liberty Shoes. Now Liberty Shoes, we know it supplies to paramilitary forces also, it exports also, it supplies to retailers also, but it has its own retail outlet. Liberty Shoes has its own retail chain also, which is owned by them, and they are also supplying you shoes directly based upon online. Nestle, similarly, Nestle is in consumer markets also. It is into business market also. Nestle, when it caters to the Horeca segment, it's in the business market. When it is supplying to you through retailers, you can say it is in a kind of a consumer market through retail. Similarly, Castrol. There was a time when Castrol used to supply even to home. They had launched a oil called Magnatech, which was a semi-synthetic or perhaps a synthetic oil, and you could dial it, order it, it would come to your home. So most businesses, they have they have a part which is called the business market, which is a part called the retail market, consumer market. If you think that retail is a part of business, understand very well. If you think retail is a part of business markets, then most companies reach you through business markets, isn't it? So it is very interesting. Also, if you see, uh, let's for a moment leave aside B2B or B2C. Eventually, you will see a lot of convergence happening. Lot of convergence happening. Businesses will try to reach to you through whichever channel, through whichever medium is good for the customer. That's the beauty about marketing, and that's the beauty about business. The landscape keeps on changing, the environment keeps on changing. Good businesses will be on top of all the four P's, whether it is product, price, place, or promotion. They will be on top of everything. So this is the beauty of studying business management, studying business markets. You cannot divorce business market from consumer markets in the sense, because you will find there will be some kind of a convergence. Let us take the case of the GEMS portal, which has been launched by the government of India. Isn't it beautiful? A small business can dream to sell its product to the vast institutional market that the government represents. Okay, so I hope you have now understood the in entirety, in all its manifestation, the consumer market and the business market. Let us now talk about the buyer and the seller relationship in business marketing. As you know, marketing is about giving a value proposition by a seller to a customer. It's it's a offering, whether it is a product or a service. It's a offering which increases or which is given at a enhanced value to the customer. Because if a customer will not find a value in the product as compared to the money which he is spending, that will not be an enduring business. So business has got some key components. One is that it is an exchange, it is a relationship, and it involves a value offering and enhancement of value, and a profit a profit orientation is there in business. Because if you keep on offering value at a loss, you cannot sustain your business. So let's understand buyer seller relationship in business marketing. You have to understand, and here I am talking mainly about industrial marketing. Okay, industrial marketing, and where the end consumer is, where the buyer is not the consumer, in the sense it doesn't consume it personally. So it's not like selling toothpaste or Maggie, or or your reading glasses. Okay, so it is, there are three kind of business products. We will come to that. Entering products, foundation products, I will come to that in the last slide. So in a business marketing, where there is a seller and there is a customer, it could be an industrial customer, or it could be a customer which may be thinking of reselling it, but let's confine largely to the industrial customers who use this as one of the components. Okay, so this relationship is very close and enduring, because there is something called total life cycle of a customer. When you make an industrial customer, an industrial customer is not a retail customer who will have a transaction with you of a small value. Normally the business marketing transactions number may be small, but the size of the transaction is large. So when the size of the transaction is large, the relationship between a seller and a buyer is close and enduring. Many times it is said that a buyer does not merely buy a product or a service, it also invests in a relationship. Think of think of a lubricant company which is making engine oil and buying additives. Okay, a engine oil is 90%, 95% base oil. Okay, and then it is additive is the heart and soul of a lubricating oil. So from where, so maybe when it will buy a base oil, it will not put so much of technical evaluation process in place, but when it is buying an additive, or even when base oil, so it will not like to change. Suppose Castrol is buying base oil and additives from Lubrizol India, it is buying additives, and base oil it is buying from HPCL. HPCL is a very large base oil refinery, so it will not like to change the vendor every time. So it is close and enduring. Second thing is, it is said when a sale is made, an industrial sale is made, it is not end of a relationship, it is the beginning of a relationship. See, when you replace a existing supplier, when you replace an existing supplier, first of all, it is not easy to replace an existing supplier. If you replace an existing supplier, then you will not be replaced easily, because the process of evaluation, the process of evaluation is, as I mentioned in the third point, high level people skill is needed. It is not easy, it is not easy to replace an existing supplier, or even to take 10% space, 10% share of the existing supplier. I have I have seen it firsthand. A large transporter in Ghaziabad, one of the biggest transporters, with a truck fleet of 300 trucks, which was using one of the public sector brands, and I was trying to enter into that. So understand that in the trucks there is 17-liter engine oil already. In the sump there is 17-liter engine oil. It is not advisable that if you are having an engine oil of, let us say, Servo, which is a prestigious brand of Indian Oil Corporation, if it has 5-liter Servo, you put the balance SO into it. Nobody likes to mix two brands. So you have to first, it is a one-to-one relationship. So I had to go and tell that transporter, sir, give me 5 trucks. In these 5 trucks, use my product, experiment with me, check the performance of my engine oil after 10,000 kilometers, and check the equivalent performance of the other engine oil. So, the change period of the oil used to be sometimes 5,000, sometimes 10,000 kilometers, depending upon the grade of the oil. So I had to be highly skilled. I had to not, my job was not over after I sold the oil. 5 cans of 20 liters I sold to that transporter. I interacted with the drivers also. And I said, this is a new oil. Please let me know when you are going for a servicing. Let me know when you have done 10,000 kilometers. I understood after how many weeks they would have done 10,000 kilometer trip. Because they used to go, some trucks would go short distance, some trucks would go long distances. So I used to calculate what is the trip distance of, what is the average trip distance of one particular truck. So I knew when they would go for a change. When they went for a change, then I would go and I will take the sample of the oil and I will send it for technical analysis to my lab and prove to them, see, my oil even after 10,000 kilometer has so much amount of goodness as compared to the other oil. High level of people skill is required. Market sensing capability and customer linking ability is the fourth point I mentioned. Market sensing capability. A new if an if a new factory is going to come up, you have to understand and you have to be the first one to move and propose that your products be patronized. You must also be in a position to understand that the guy is going to change his machinery, so he may need a different input. Suppose there is a suppose the energy is generated by using furnace oil, and furnace oil is in short supply. If furnace oil is in short supply, then diesel is used. If diesel is used, then the oil will be different. So you have to market sensing capability. Fourth position, which is fourth another point which I one two three four fifth point which is I am putting is premium. The buyer places premium on supply chain capability of seller. Supply chain capability of the seller. Imagine you are in the Maruti factory and you depend upon your vendors to provide you rear view mirrors on two sides and on the center. Would you like to have your car is ready, every component is ready, and you don't have timely supply of the mirror? So a car of 5 lakh rupee is in your manufacturing facility just because the rear view mirrors, which perhaps cost 2000 rupees or 3000 rupees, are not supplied to you on time. So premium is placed on supply chain capabilities of seller. Another point is that buyers, they are looking for engineering support from suppliers. Engineering support from suppliers. It's the case of medical representative and doctors. Of I'm just trying to give you an analogy that many times I have seen doctors who are MBBS, MD with high degrees. They very keenly listen to the medical representative who's coming there to explain why this new tablet or this new medicine is better, what is the composition, what is the salt which is used, because they are the experts. So similarly, industrial buyers especially, they depend upon the engineering support of the suppliers, because the suppliers, they are masters in their field. A company which is manufacturing car it has got overall expertise on the process of manufacturing a car, but a company which is supplying brake pads or which is supplying the music system, let us say, it is an expert in its own stream. Okay, so buyers, they depend heavily on the suppliers. Okay, and I have written this point that new ideas, they often come from sellers. It is the seller or the supplier which tells you, sir, currently you are using this product. If you replace this input product by this product, it will be better. Because the supplier specializes in his stream. He has his research and development in that stream. He may not have his own R&D unit, but it may have a technical collaboration with somebody abroad. When you see, let us take the case of a laptop. The size, what is the trend? The size of the laptop is growing smaller, or even if the size is not going smaller, the laptop is becoming lighter, isn't it? Earlier we used to have laptops which were quite heavy. Now the laptops are getting lighter. From whom do you think the idea came? The idea came from the suppliers. Let me show you the laptop I am using. See the charger. This is the charger. This is all. This is the charger. And think of the charger which was supplied earlier. The charger used to be heavy, and it used to have a plug, and it used to have a independent electronic kind of a panel. Now everything is merged in this. Okay, this goes inside the electric station, and this is all that you have in charger. This is such a small thing, so it leads to convenience, isn't it? It is easier to carry. So this is an engineering support which has come from the supplier of the charger. Sometimes new idea supports often come from sellers. New ideas. There is a business. Think of a hotel and think of its business support services. The business support services, it would have a printer, it would have a photocopier. So when the photocopy machine and the printer, when they got integrated, it must be the supplier who must have told the business service center that you must replace this by this. So sellers, they need to generate timely market knowledge for each customer and for each product segment. Also, the service package has to be customized. As I gave you the example, service package has to be customized for diverse customer group. If you are, suppose you are a company which is providing accounting services, and you find that your company also needs the service of the legal services, or it needs the services of company secretary. So you could be a single source of supplies of all business services to them. Okay, the open communication, the communication lines between seller and buyers are always open, because this is in the interest of seller, of course, but the buyer also. And when I say open line of communication, let me give you an example. When I was working in Nigeria for a company which was importing telecom towers and supplying it to big companies, I remember one of the biggest customer was Huawei. So Huawei used to depend on me. Huawei used to import towers from China also, but it would also depend on me to buy towers. So I had to know what is going to be the Huawei's tower forecast, because a telecom tower is of various size: 30 meters, 40 meters, 50 meters, it could be 80 meters. So I had to know, because based upon what they will need, I will place the order. I used to get the telecom towers from South Africa then, and they also used to demand perfect transparency from me. They needed stocks. I By close interaction, I became their preferred supplier. I was working for a company called Swap Technologies. I became their preferred suppliers because I was the only supplier who told them, this is my stock in my Lagos warehouse. This is my stock in my Abuja warehouse. Lagos was the commercial capital. Abuja is the political capital of Nigeria. I used to tell them, this is my stock on the sea, because used to import from South Africa, it would take 21 days to 30 days. This is my stock at the custom yard. This is my stock at the manufacturer. So I would share with them my stock levels. So there was so much of transparency. That they knew that what Swap Technologies, the stock which Swap Technology is giving, is the right stock, correct stock. They are not bluffing. So naturally, they would give me more share of business. So if you are able to earn the trust of the buyer, you will succeed in the business marketing. And the trust is not developed in one day or 2 days. You need to work on the trust many of diligently. This is a wrong notion that you just need to do PR exercise, go and have lunch with the customer, their people. This is all bunkum. Unless unless you are giving great professional service to the customer is not likely to back you. And once you get the backing, once the customer has developed trust in your abilities, it has developed a kind of a confidence in your integrity, it is very difficult that somebody can replace you easily. If you have got excellent supply chain, if you have got excellent communication, if you have got an excellent track record, even if a supplier comes and offers the same product and service at a discount, at a small discount, the company is likely to remain with you, because nobody, no buyer, no industrial establishment wants any disruption to take place. The buyers need suppliers as much as the suppliers need buyers. It is not a case of consumer marketing that you enter a mom and pop store and you ask for, let us say, Colgate, and if Colgate is not there, you take some other brand. Okay, although people in consumer market are also brand conscious, they stick to the brand. But or you say you want this brand of ketchup, and if it is not available, you will not take the other brand of ketchup. You don't want to go from one shop to other shop for a brand of ketchup, but in case of business marketing, switching brand is not easy. Switching brand is not easy. Think of a large transporter who has been using Tata trucks and who believes that Tata trucks are reliable and trustworthy. It is not easy for Ashok Leyland to come and dislodge Tatas. Suppose the company is in the process of buying 50 more trucks. Very difficult for Ashok Leyland. Same is true with Ashok Leyland. In southern market, Ashok Leyland is very strong. So it is tough that if there is a transporter who has been going for many years with Ashok Leyland, that Tatas can displace it very easily. Especially true when you are importing something. When you are importing something if your vendor or if your supplier from Taiwan or let's say Korea, if he is giving you the quality which he has proposed to give, if there is no gap between the quality that he promised to give and the quality that he supplied, and if he is sticking to the pricing criteria which you agreed to, the pricing terms you agreed to, if he is sticking to the credit lines, very difficult that somebody else will come and replace you, even if he is offering a service which is at 5% discount. So this is the gist of buyer-seller relationship in business marketing. In the book which I have proposed to you, there are, I think in chapter 3 and chapter 4, this is discussed in more detail. But this was the introductory lecture on buyer-seller relationship in business marketing.